Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Black Facts Podcast. My name is Marshall Bass. Today's episode, we're going to talk about somebody who's very important to medicine. His name was Daniel Hale Williams. Dr. Daniel Hale Williams. This guy grew up like most kids in the between early to late 1800s. Yeah. So he grew up. His parents. He was one of seven children. His father was a barber. His mother was a nurse. So growing up, throughout life, he had it very rough. But he had aspirations of being bigger, doing better things. So at a very early age, his father died. His father, like I say, was a barber. So when his father died, his mother was left to care for all the children. She couldn't care for all the children. She didn't have the means, to make sure that everyone was safe and everyone had enough food, or even, to protect all of them. So she had to send Hale over to his siblings. He stayed there for a while. As he stayed there, as he grew up, he became a barber, like his father. He wasn't very fond of it. He didn't like it very much, but it was a trade, something that he can do. After he got tired of doing that, then he went to being a shoemaker, making shoes and that kind of stuff. And there was another trade he can get into, but wasn't anything that he can really say was something that was really helping him. So then, at the time of him doing that, he met a man who was a black man as a doctor. So he aspired to do that, and it kind of influenced him to do something great, something better. So this man, he went to school, got the education. After graduating, he decided that he wanted to be more than just a regular doctor. He wanted to be a heart surgeon, which is hard enough as it is, being a doctor, but being a heart surgeon. So, as he worked up the ranks, he became the first, not the first in the world, he became the first documented person to complete a successful heart surgery. There's people in Germany. There's some doctors in Germany. There's a few in France that did heart surgery before him, but they didn't succeed. The person died from it. He's the first person to be documented as a successful heart surgery to help someone repair their heart. So he became very, very good at his work. He did this for numerous amount of years. After doing this, then he decided that there wasn't any representation for him in hospitals because they were very, very biased on him, even though he was performing things that white doctors at the time weren't doing. So he decided to work hard and open his own hospital. This hospital that he opened was the first integrated hospital in the world. I mean, you think about it. So this hospital where black folks and white folks worked together in the hospital, to make sure that people got care that they needed. So this is very, very, very important. So after him opening his own hospital and running that for a while, people were seeing that he was very, very resilient in his practice, and he helped out a lot of people. So as hospitals were growing and growing and growing, he decided that he wanted to run the hospital, but he also needed nurses. But he wanted to help out, black people. So he wanted to have black nurses to be more prevalent in the workplace. So he opened his own nursing school. So now this guy has his own hospital. He has a nursing school. Nursing school was doing well. It was doing good. Everything was good with that. He was bringing up nurses. They were coming up through the ranks. They were coming in and they were doing very well for themselves. So he was very well successful in that aspect. But as he grew older, other hospitals saw his work and they wanted him to be in charge of their hospitals. So in total, he was in charge of, over his lifetime, 4 to 5 hospitals that he was in charge of. All right, now this is a black guy. This is in the 1890s now. Okay, this is in right prime, segregation, after uh, Emancipation Proclamation was signed. This is probably 30 years after that was signed. Still, this guy who was a black man who was a doctor in the white man's world at this time was very, very successful at his job. To run a hospital at that time was not something that was be looked over, because it's not how it is now, where you have all of the technology to help you to make you more in tune with people, that you're working under or that are working under you. So it was more hands on. It was more due diligence, to make things better. So this guy was very good at this. He was doing his thing. And Dr. Hale, is a very important person in our life, because it shows that even during the height of slavery, even though slavery was abolished, he still, he still provided. He still made sure that that black folks, themselves were even doing good in that. What's going on? What's going on? But yeah. So you think that it's amazing how you see this black man who grew up, who grew through the ranks of owning his own hospital, who even hired you think about it, as a black man, this guy was going through the ranks. He owned his own hospital, and not to be selfish and not hire only black folks, he hired white folks too to work at his hospital as well too. Which was very, very bold of him. But even doing that, after starting his own nursing school and have nurses come through and doing their thing, it was nice, to have people like that, in lifetime. He wasn't, someone that wanted to hold back or hold things against people. He was for everyone. He wanted everyone to succeed, no matter how you were or what your background was, or where you came from, or how you perceived him at all. It was very, very good of him. And in doing so, he became successful. He had his own hospital. He had his own nursing home. He was grooming nurses. He was running 4 to 5 hospitals at the same time. This guy was very, very important. He was doing things that most white doctors, weren't even attempting doing. You think about the first successful heart surgery that he did was a guy who got stabbed in the heart. So he took him and he repaired this part. He repaired his heart. Doctors at that time weren't doing that. They say if you got stabbed in the heart, you just you were dead. He didn't see it that way. So someone like that was very, very important to medicine and also to black culture. I believe that our black culture is very, very, very miscued, and written wrong. And just think about it, even the hospitals, you have to think about it. People don't understand where the ambulance came from. The ambulance was something, that just came out of thin air. The ambulance came from, so basically, whenever someone in a black neighborhood was hurt, shot, or whatever, and they called the police to come help them out, come get them, they wouldn't come. They were like, oh, well, you got shot, you die. It is what it is. Find your way to the hospital. There wasn't many people who had any means of doing that. So, as we are very resilient, as black folks, what we did was, anytime somebody got hurt or whatever, you call me, I come get you, I take the hospital. And that's what happened. We we looked out for each other, and we made sure that you know what I'm saying, no matter what you did or what was going on in your lifetime, you deserve to live no matter what. So, and in doing so, um, white people will see that, you know, they're trying to figure out why this black guy driving around and drop folks off at hospitals. Like, what are you doing? Who are you? The guy's like, I just want to, you know what I'm saying, help out. Drop folks off, you know what I'm saying, that need help. You know what I'm saying? So he did this for numerous amount of times. And of course, as it was society then, white folks saw that, like, hey, that's a good idea. So we're gonna start this service so that whenever somebody get hurt, you know, so we come around, you know, pick them up, and bring them to hospitals. This is how the ambulance started. This is where it came from. It came from a black man who was sitting around, seeing people who needed help, and seeing who were getting persecuted, you know what I'm saying, by the police, by not helping them. So he decided, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to help people out. I'm going to make sure that they get to the hospital when they need to. And white folks saw it and ran with it and turned it into the ambulance. You know, so we are a very, very resilient race. And I don't even want to call it race. I want to call it mankind, because there is no race. There's such thing as race. There was crazy was there was no word really race until, I want to say it was Reagan, when we had the whole race war. But there is no race, you know. There is no such thing as, you know, a black race or a white race. We're all human beings. The only thing different between white folks and black folks is melanin. That's the only difference. That is the only difference between black folks and white folks is melanin. And to be clear, there is no way for a white person to make a black person. In other words, what I'm saying is, if two white folks had a baby and it come down the line, it couldn't be black. It couldn't happen. But two black folks could have a baby that could have less melanin in their body, or the baby can be albino, which is still a melanin deficient person. That could be a white person. But it is impossible for white people to make black folks. It's impossible. All right. So, in saying that, we are very, very important. All right. This is why today they say that black folks need to take the vaccine first. Well, because our melanin is basically our defense mechanism for our bodies. Our melanin is very, very important. Our DNA is totally different than anyone on this planet, which is the reason why they gave us all these diseases in the early 60s, you know what I'm saying, to see how it would affect us and how things would work. Which you think about it, they gave us no medicine, but our bodies still find a way to fight it and still find a way to move on. So what they did was they gave us these diseases, seen how it worked, seen how our bodies adapted to it, and moved on from there. And then they made vaccines from that, which is why they're trying to do the same thing again with this coronavirus. They're trying to do the same thing where they give us these vaccines, see how our body fights them, and then from there we're going from there. So one thing I want everybody to understand is that, you know, us as black folks, you know what I'm saying, we are very, very unique. We are very resilient. We are very important. Everybody's important. No matter what goes on in your lifetime, you are important. And I want everybody to understand that. I still would like everybody, you know what I'm saying, to learn history. Learn someone new every day. Try and learn about a black person in your lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Someone that can help you out. Someone that can make things, you know what I'm saying, that you see that they went through. You understand that somebody who, like I say, like that Daniel, this guy was one of 7 kids. Okay, had a rough growing up, right? Still went to college. Still became a doctor. Still became the first person to was the first documented successful heart surgery. in the 1890s. We're now in 2020. So there's plenty to go around. There's plenty innovation, you know what I'm saying, left in us, you know what I'm saying, to make our next generation better. And I think that's the most important thing out of this message for everyone to understand is that no one is in it by yourself. There's a whole culture, there's a whole following, you know what I'm saying, behind you that's willing to help you and push you and mold you and make sure that you do the right thing and do the right thing for you, for your family. Because the one thing in this world that we cannot control is who is our family. You're born to this world. You have no choice of knowing who your family's going to be, or who they are, or how they operate, or nothing. So you grow up trusting these people who you were born into. So that's what you have to do. You have to make sure that people that you're born, that your life that you were born into, that you can provide for the life that you create down the line. It's all about passing it on. Okay, it's never about yourself. You have to think greater than just yourself. Because if you think about only yourself and only your generation, then you're not doing the next generation any justice. Because they have nothing to learn from you. Every generation should learn from every generation and learn what they did wrong and learn how to fix it. All right, that's the one thing that I can say about our generations, you know what I'm saying, before us, is that they did things, they went through things, they showed us, you know what I'm saying, how to make and how to mold and how to create things and how to make sure that it was done correctly, and then pass it on down generations. And that's what we have to do is the same thing too. We have to make sure that we pass things on to our generations or our family and our friends. Because if you don't do it, who's going to do it? All right. So it's always doing more than just for self. Because if you only thinking of you and you only you lost a whole lot of respect by just thinking that you are the only thing worth living for on this planet. All right. Learn something about someone new every day. Just make sure that you learn black facts. You know what I'm saying? That's the main important thing. You know, I'm not I didn't go to school for history. I don't have any degree in history. I don't have anything, you know what I'm saying, that I can say that is concrete in me for doing history. Not at all. I like history. Because as I always say, if you don't learn history, it will repeat. And right now we're looking at the Civil War. The Civil War happened. It's probably going to repeat itself. All right? So we have to learn about ourselves. So this is what started me to write my own book. So right now I'm in the process of writing a book about our history. And our history isn't very, very polite. It's not for the faint of heart. There's some stuff in this book, you know what I'm saying, that people are going to have to understand that really did happen. You know, like lynchings was a big thing. You have to understand and think about this. There was ads in the paper. There was flyers put out for lynchings. Lynchings was like a spectacle for white folks. It was like going to the fair. It was like having a good time on the weekend, like going to the beach. You know, and these were lynchings. They brought the kids out. They would take black men, they would parade them through towns, you know what I'm saying, show them off before they hung them and shot them and burned them and stripped them of their skin. So you have to learn your history. Because if you don't learn your history will show tell you what happened, and it will bring it to you to light. As of right now, you know, these 13 guys, you know what I'm saying, that was going to kidnap a federal official, you know, and what are they going to do? They're going to just talk to her? No, you have to think, you know what I'm saying? The same thing happening is happening now. So we have to all be mindful and look out for our surroundings and be safe. History is in no way, shape, or form, you know what I'm saying, designed to make sure that you are safe. You have to learn your history and understand about it and make sure that you protect yourself. This is the one thing that I agree with the founding fathers. Um, they weren't all the greatest men in the world, but they believe that people, deserve the rights to at least be great. So I want everybody to have a nice day. I want everybody, to educate yourself, learn something new every day. All right. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in to the Black Facts Podcast. You guys have a good day. Thank you.